This meeting is being recorded.
Welcome to Six in the Six. Tonight's guest, the fabulous Grace Keenan, freshman goalkeeper from the Roberts Wesleyan women's lacrosse team. Yay, Grace, welcome to the
Yay.
show.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. How are you tonight in your closet?
I'm not in my closet. I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, it's been a pretty chill day, so doing good.
Yeah, you just had some lift this morning and maybe a little bit of class and getting ready for
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, just one class today. Everything else canceled. So, yeah, so excited for Thanksgiving break.
Oh, yeah. And then we're back at it soon enough.
Oh
So
yeah.
let's see. Wallingford, Connecticut.
Far
Hmm,
drive.
far drive. What big city that I might know is that close to?
Hartford?
Okay, yep.
30 minutes from Hartford.
Hold it, Hartford. Is that UConn play out of there?
No, wait. Yes. Yes? UConn has like 5 different campuses in 5 different towns.
But it's kind of close. I mean, Mohegan Sun's kind of close to there. I think the Basketball Hall of Fame's in Hartford, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, Basketball Hall of Fame is in there. At the Excel Center. Um,
Oh, is that where the Whalers used to play?
yes. Yes, it is. Um, and then there's a few other there's the Connecticut Science Center in Hartford. I love that place.
It's kind of smart for me. I don't go to science centers.
There's a giant dinosaur, so
Oh, okay. I just changed my mind. Oh, is it a T-Rex?
it is a T-Rex.
Very appropriate for goalie talk.
Oh yeah.
If I'm ever to be driving through Wallingford,
Mhm.
where would I eat?
Oh. Oh, that's difficult. Um, Big places that, like, my family likes are Christo's. It's a pizza place. It's really good. My town's right next to New Haven, and so we get a little bit of New Haven pizza, which is, like, the pizza. So we have Christo's. There's a lot of people like Wooden Tap, um, but that's kind of yeah.
Oh, okay. So I kind of like my pizza, but I've never heard of New Haven pizza. Is that like up there with New York or Chicago or my favorite, the Hawaiians?
It's actually above. It's rated the best pizza in the country is New Haven Pizza.
All right.
So,
Well, I think I sense a road trip coming in my future.
it's a fun road trip for pizza. There's so many pizza shops in New Haven. It's crazy. There's one on every block.
All right. So when I drive through your town, I'm looking for pizza. Got it.
Mhm. And we have a lot of Mexican restaurants, my town. Vida Mexicana is it's amazing for a night in watching movies and eating a giant quesadilla.
Ooh, giant. How about a Mexican pizza?
I don't think we have that.
Well, there's always room for improvement.
Yeah. There's grilled cheese pizza.
Ooh,
And
yeah, I
mashed
think
potato pizza.
whole mashed potato pizza.
It's a little weird, but, like, it's good. So, just a little funky. You gotta get used to it.
Uh, all right. Well, you're making me hungry, so we should probably get back on track here. So let's see. High school, Lady Titan of
Yeah,
Sheehan High School.
yeah, the Titans I didn't actually know what our actual mascot was until last year.
I saw you until you were a senior.
Yeah, I knew that we were the Titans, but all I knew is that there was a sword
All
because
right,
we didn't get our mascot costume back till last year. So,
interesting. Where'd
yeah,
it go?
it was just really creepy looking, and there was COVID, so but
It was scaring the kids.
yeah, it was scaring the teenagers. So
So I don't know. It's funny. I was having a discussion with, hmm, I don't think it was some of the lacrosse people about how they felt when a sports team is like the lady somethings. So in your case, there
Yeah.
were the Titans and then there were the Lady Titans. I'm still not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah, I don't enjoy it because there actually we for my school, there was a separate account made called the Lady Titans Athletics because our main account wasn't posting the like women's team or the girls teams as much as like the boys. So I don't like it. But for lacrosse, we do call ourselves just the Titans. And like for swim as well, because both my coaches were just like, no, we're not doing that. So
I kind of like the differentiation. So you kind of have a unique face, but at the same time, I kind of like being under, we're just kind of one. So I'm always
yeah.
kind of conflicted about this.
Yeah, because it was the account was created because we weren't getting posted or like no one knew when our games were or anything. So the account was created so that people specifically could know when the girls' games were or matches. Um, but it was very like infuriating for most teams because it was like, well, why isn't the like main account actually posting us? Why do we have to have this extra account that like nobody followed too? Like there was no following behind it.
Was it an official account or was it kind of like the supporters of the Lady Titans created it?
It was kind of just like the supporters of. It was a student run account because the well now like we got a switch of ADs. So our new athletic director actually posts the like all the Lady Titans. So it's I think that account is down now, but our previous AD was very like football oriented and would mainly only post things about football. So,
Football seems to have that impact. It's like it's all encompassing and
yeah,
everyone's into the football thing. I'm
yeah, and our
not so
team
much.
sucked, so that was kind of
Well, maybe they just needed to improve on some things. Well, okay. So when researching your high school career, I
mhm,
I found some interesting things. So you surpassed 400 career saves late in your senior season.
yes.
If I recall, it was oh boy, I can't remember. It was anyway. It was late in the season, and because
Mhm,
you ended it with 414
yeah,
saves, which was crazy though. Is like I found a stat about a month prior to that breaking 400 that said you surpassed 300.
it was actually only a week prior.
So a week, man. So that was 100 shots in a week.
Mhm.
How'd that happen?
It was, like, 4 games, and I just, like I think I kinda was like, "I need to get 400 because that the game that I got 300, it was actually, I didn't even know I was getting 400. I was surprised with that. That yeah, so the 300 I got during a game, and I knew about that one, and I surpassed 300 in that game. Then I had, like, 3 more games, and somehow, because my, save average I averaged about, like, I think, like, 12 per game, somewhere around there. Um, so it was really like I put my mind to, like, I need to get 400, but I wasn't counting, so I had no clue that during that game was when I would reach it.
So how did, because I came up with the same thing. I think I came up with somewhere between 12 and 15 per game, it looked like.
Mhm.
And boy, a week that doesn't even make sense. So did you basically tell your defense to like lie down so you could have a ton of shots?
Um, I mean, no, we just played so I actually forget the teams that we had played that week, but it was more of like some harder games, some tougher games. And last season was also just really tough for our team in general because we lost so many like we lost pretty much like the pillars of our team. Uh so it like I ended up getting a lot more shots last year than I normally did. So like last year was like a going all the time. Like defense was trying their best, but it was just shot after shot.
So what you said last your senior year you lost some pillars of your team. It was when did I read that you guys moved up to a tougher division, maybe Division
Yeah.
One. What
Yeah.
was that also your senior year? Was that the first year of that?
Yep. So last year was our first year as a Division 1 team, which kind of like hit hard because we got a new coach. Our team was completely different because we had to figure out a new dynamic, and just like there were so many girls that needed to learn how to play and like needed to learn how to play different positions. Like we needed new midfielders because we were running out. Um, so there was a lot of changes last year that kind of just like it was like a rocky transition, but I'm hoping to like watch them this year and see that like they're doing good. Um, hmm,
So I want to stay on this for a little bit because you also made second team
yeah,
your senior year, so which well deserved based on so many shots. Um, how do you feel facing that many shots in your senior year? Because it was obviously a little higher than the ones prior. How do you feel that may have helped you with your upcoming transition coming to Roberts?
I feel like it helped a lot because I was, especially since we had moved to the Division 1, it was a lot more of like people I played with on my club teams that were committed to D1 schools or D2, or people who were like shooting like more at like the level that we are playing now. So it kind of gave me like a glimpse into what shots I would be seeing. Um, I mean, yeah, what shots I would be seeing in college pretty much. And I think it really helped for me to like kind of come out of my shell more, especially because I was also a captain last year. So I had to really like get out of my comfort zone and like talk a lot more on defense because I was not only just like I wasn't just the goalie, I was also the captain of the defense and like captain of the entire team. So it helped me transition a lot more because it just helped me come out of my shell, and I was less scared and more like ready to take on anything.
So was that senior year experience playing in that higher division more close in like competition skill level to your Nor'easter club experience than let's say your prior years of high school?
Yeah, I would say so. Just because I got to actually play some of my teammates, and when we played for tournaments for Nor'easter, it was a lot of like really hard teams because our team was so highly ranked. So I was playing all these like Division 1 recruits, and it was that actually really helped me transition as well because I was just seeing like these nasty shots in practice from these like sophomores sometimes, and it was crazy. Um, and it really helped me kind of like figure out how to track like all those wonky shots and all the trick shots. So
Wonky
yeah.
shots. I like wonky shots, as you
Wonky
may or may
shots.
not know. The other high school stat that kind of jumped out and grabbed me was I think you had just over a 50% save percent, which
Yeah.
is pretty impressive. How so, people who may not know as much about lacrosse goalie might say 50%. That's kind of like that's. But how for us with we see shots so tight in
Mhm.
that's pretty impressive to me. I think we typically average in the high 30s maybe.
Yeah.
Um, how do you balance, because of course we want to be 100, that would be great, but we know that's not possible. So how do you balance like wanting to be at 100 but understanding that 50 is good, but still having that hunger to try to get to, I don't want to call it perfection because that puts a different connotation on it. But I mean, how do you push yourself while being like, oh yeah, 50, that's pretty good. How do you not be happy with that and keep going?
Um, well, the biggest thing that, like, I had learned, especially I had learned through, I think, peak goalie or some training camp that I went to that, like, 50% is where, like, a lot of the great goalies were at. So I was always pushing myself to like I need to be like not need to be, but I want to be better than the greats. So even in games, like even if I knew like I had over 50% of the like every game was like I need to have a shutout. Like that was just like the motivation, like no matter what, it's like, oh, this game's gonna be a shutout. Even if I knew it was gonna be a hard game and I knew like we probably were not gonna win, I was like, in my head, I was like, oh, it's a shutout. So it like really kind of like drove me to fight for the ball more because I like put that mindset in my head where I was like the ball needs to be in my stick instead of like a oh I got 50%, we're good. Like I was always happy after games getting 50%. I was like oh yeah, that's great. But
Yeah, I think that's I agree, and certainly would be celebrating that. But to me, it's it's easy to feel overly satisfied with that and be like, I'm good because I understand that that's like where the best are at. So I feel sometimes we maybe stop pushing ourselves because we're
mhm.
happy with where we're at. Do you ever feel that way?
I do sometimes, but I know during my high school career I would always push for that 75 because that's even better. And I not
I think our Wi-Fi problems are back.
oh no. Real
Oh, maybe you're back.
am I?
Oh, there you are.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you left us at 75%.
Oh. Um I always I love getting 75% because it's better than 50, but it's like it feels like the 100. Like it feels like getting 100. And it's also just like a good thing to push for because like although I'm satisfied at 50, I still have the hunger to get to 100 or to get to 75 or even just above 50. Like there's still like the oh like I really want to do this. So
Yeah, I kind of like you put the target under the 100, just maybe consciously, subconsciously, just knowing that that's not actually possible,
yeah.
but still pushing yourself. So I like that approach. You started kind of late in the net. Was it eighth grade or something? Did I see?
Yeah, fall of 8th grade, I started with just, like, these little training camps that a random mom was doing, like, a random sub at my school, and she just held them, and I was like, "I'm bored," so I did them. It was
So
interesting.
what drew you to, I mean, what kind of sucked you in and kept you going on that? Because you were at least a 3 year, I believe, starter. If not, the COVID was in there, so it gets kind of messy. But so eighth grade, you basically started and then joined varsity. Talk about that a little.
You cut out a little bit.
Oh yeah, just like if you started in eighth grade and like were on varsity most of your high school career, that
Yeah.
was not you had to get up to speed pretty quick.
Yeah, so my 8th grade year, I started out I was a goalie automatically. I was 50 goalie, like half and half goalie defender. I was never good at attack. Um, but yeah, at my 8th grade year, the like summer going into high school, my high school coaches came up to me and they're just like, our other goalie quit, so you're gonna have to start on varsity. And I was like, okay, like I guess I can do that. Like that's cool. And I was still like ducking shots and everything. Like I was still so afraid. But it definitely like that moment I was like, okay, I need to step it up. Like I need to like this is my sport now. And like I fell in love from that moment on cuz so my freshman year was COVID and we still had a league that we played in and having that really helped cuz then I had that time to bond with my team and like still get the practice in and everything. It was it was definitely obvious my freshman year that I was still new to the sport because I still didn't know a lot of the rules. I got a lot of calls for like doing something wrong at some point. Um, but it definitely helped being like
Oh, we're losing each other again.
harder.
Yep, I think you're back.
Oh,
You there? Oh, okay.
okay.
Um, so you got in trouble for doing things you weren't supposed to do. What was your number one thing you got in trouble by from the refs for?
Walking back in my crease with the ball or standing in the crease for too long. It always had to be like with the crease. It was something with the crease.
Well, at least
I,
you're
I
allowed to walk back in now.
yeah, yeah, I'm very happy about that because I was still confused on the rules last year.
Well, in your defense, they do seem to change them a lot every year. So,
Yeah, they change them every single year, and I'm just like, well, what can I do with the crease now?
what was that 1 foot in or so you're at Roberts. How
Mhm.
how was that? How was the recruiting process for you? Like what when did Roberts kind of stand out for you and what ended up making your decision to come here?
Yeah, so that was actually it's really funny because I originally got the email for Roberts because I had emailed a whole bunch of schools that had forensic science and lacrosse, and it had to be D2, D1 because uh, D3 just was not in the cards for me with financial side. But when Roberts reached out, I looked into it and I was like, this is a Christian university. I don't want to go there. And my dad had pushed me and was like, "Well, you should try everything." Cuz this was my junior year and it was like right when we were allowed to talk to coaches. And I was like, "Okay, I guess," even though it was a 6-hour trip and I had to leave right after homecoming to drive all the way to Rochester, New York from Wallingford, Connecticut. Um and that clinic really, like, pushed me to be like, "Oh my gosh, like, I love this team, like, I love these coaches, like, this is amazing." The first coach I met was Coach Pete, and I thought he was just some random dad coming in, and he was not. And I just thought it was really funny, but I fell in love in that moment because I was like, "Wow, the goalie coaching is great." Like, it's so, like it felt random in the moment, but I was like, I'm thinking a lot more than I normally do and like actually putting in like different things into play. And just like I thought Coach Kristen was like one of the best coaches I have ever met. Like she was just so sweet, so nice. And from there on, I was like, I think Roberts is my top school. Like I came home from that and I was like, guys, I think I want to go there. Even though like there was the one con was the religious aspect, but like it's not even that bad, which is great. Um, but I signed or I verbally committed a few like 2 or 3 months later. Um, and I'm still very happy with my choice. I love it here. I love the team. And it was honestly a really easy decision because I just fell in love so quickly and also because Coach Kristen, when she called me, she was like, "Yeah, you're my number one goalie. I want you." And I was like, "Oh, thanks. Like you're my number one too." I was like, "Oh,
It's funny. She quite often refers to the that process of trying to get people to come to the team as kind of a kind of a dating thing. So it's
yeah,
funny that you just said that, like, oh, my number. You just made me think of that.
yeah." She said it to me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are my number one school. Like this is so great."
That's funny.
Yeah,
So you get here and kind of that first date feeling wears off a little bit. Obviously, there's the
yeah,
academic side, um, which you graduated pretty high with in high school, like 4.0 or something. So you got the
yeah.
smarticles working. Um,
To an extent.
to an extent, the
To
smarticles.
an extent.
So how like one of the it's hard being a freshman, I feel, because
Mhm.
one, there's the miss home aspect. There's kind of like you're on your own in terms of navigating your day with the
Yeah.
academics, and now throw in collegiate sports into that. Can you talk about some of the challenges you faced both on and off the field and kind of what you did to overcome them to get to where you're at this point?
Yeah, so little back story kind of thing. I'm a very introverted person. I have high anxiety. So definitely coming here was a little rough in the beginning. I was very nervous coming onto the team because had only I only had a connection with Shauna, yeah, our other goalie, and the freshman. That was pretty much it. And I had to like kind of form those connections with the rest of the team. And at first with that, I was like, I don't really know if I belong here. But I like now, going from then to now, like on the team, I feel like this is the perfect place for me. Like I love it so much. I love the team dynamic. But the academic transition, like off the field, like was weirdly like my high school career was a lot more rigorous, which is weird. I didn't expect that, but I'm also a freshman. So it's, I definitely get a lot more projects and a lot more group things than I'm used to. But academics, I'm loving like making all these new friends and really like being on my own because I love being on my own. I love like being independent. So it's really nice overall, and it's kind of been like a great experience for me. Like after the first month, everything was just great. Like I just felt at home.
I think it throws a different level of, even you were saying that your high school may have been a little more rigorous in terms of structure and workload and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a whole different level of kind of responsibility and understanding that your choices have consequences, I think, at that level.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot. So in high school, I was a lot more like at home because I was so scared of doing anything that would like ruin my college career before it started. But like now I feel like I'm hanging out with friends more. Like I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can study with friends and it's fine. Like we won't get off track because we both need to pass. So it's I feel like my coming here, like going to college, my social life has just like gone through the roof. Like it's so much better. I don't feel like, oh my gosh, there's like it's going to be absolutely awful if I go and study with this person for over 3 hours because I'm just going to be distracted. But I end up getting done so much more work than I ever thought I would, which was a crazy transition.
Yeah, cool. So the other thing I have to ask at this point, you talked about your senior year as a Lady Titan and the
Mhm.
Nor'easter players and kind of facing that level of shots from the commits and things that said you were feeling like it would get you ready for college.
Yeah.
Now that you've seen some non-freshman collegiate shots at you, do you feel the same?
To an extent, because the shots that I'm facing now, like in practice, it feels a lot more calculated and like everything feels just like I know that they're better. Like I can recognize that they are college players. Like they belong on this team. They belong where they're at. It was it's a lot it feels a lot different just because everyone's good and there's like barely any weak points in shooting. So it's a lot harder as a goalie, but it's good mentally because I'm not like, oh, this person has a weak shot or like, oh, this person only shoots in this spot. So it is different, but it's a good different because I'm actually seeing like different shots and good shots all the time.
What kind of So that was kind of the light side of the mentality
Yeah.
side of it. If we kind of flip that coin over to the dark side of it, have you had moments of like where your self-talk or you've had some self-doubt about you kind of look up and you're like, yikes, what am I doing here? Have you had any of that? And kind of how have you been able to manage that from your mindset perspective?
Yeah, so I've had that a few times, especially in the beginning where I was like, "Oh my gosh, like these shots are a lot more than I thought they would be. Like this practice is a lot more than what I thought it would be." Like I was doing so much more than I ever like thought I physically could. And originally I was in like kind of like a dark place where I was like I wanted to quit and I didn't want to keep going. But then like I had talked to some of my teammates, like I talked to people and it kind of made me realize like I am a freshman, like this is supposed to happen. Like I need to find my place. I need to like find where I'm comfortable at, like cuz I'm still trying to figure out who I am as a goalie, as a person. So it was going to be rough in the beginning, but I sought out help and it's helped me mentally being like I'm a freshman. This is my first time ever in college, my first time ever playing a collegiate sport. Like I'm like it's going to be rough at first. So that really helped me get through it as it's not just a me problem. It's a more widespread.
I think that was a good way to look at it. And, through getting help, which, good on you for having that courage to find it.
Yeah.
Um, but I always have felt it's tough anytime you level up, right? It's like you can be the top 5% of where you're at, and all of a sudden you're
Yeah.
just kind of average again. And then you have to kind of claw your way up, and then next thing you know,
Mhm.
you're kind of back to average again. And
Yeah.
learning how to kind of process that and like you said, realizing where you're at and it's kind of temporary as long as you keep fighting through it.
Yeah, because I went from being, like, one of the top goalies in, like, my, division and my section and everything to, like, all of a sudden I'm just like, "I need to redo all of this." Like, I have to start over again. Like, my name isn't gonna automatically be in articles now, like, I have to push for that. So,
And it will be soon enough.
oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Um, so I see that you're a swimmer as well, or at least you spent some
Yeah.
time in the pool. Was that more of I'm assuming that wasn't like recreational, just splash around stuff.
No, I was a competitive swimmer for all of high school. I had started when I was little, but it didn't really work out, and I found it again in high school, and I loved it, but continuing in college just wasn't like, it didn't feel right to me, also because I did not like drowning every day, um, so but I think swimming really helped mentally, like, it helped me get mentally tough for lacrosse and kind of just like get that mindset of like I can do anything as long as I like try. Like I can do this. Cuz a lot of swimming is a lot of mental things like cuz you're holding your breath. Like we would do drills where we would hold our breath for a certain amount of time and you'd feel like you were going to pass out but you had to do it. And it kind of just like set the mindset of like if I push myself, like it'll eventually come. Like it'll go. And eventually like I was able to hold my breath perfectly fine for one whole length. Like and I wasn't like it didn't hurt at all. So that helped me in lacrosse because then I tried hard in every drill because I knew that eventually it would become second nature and it would be all good.
Yeah, I love it. You actually must have read my mind and you stole my question. I was going to ask like if you had any mindset things you could apply. So I'm going to have to switch
Good.
gears on that one a little bit. And you also tapped into your artistic side a little bit and were involved with the school play.
Yeah, I was
Um,
in two musicals.
so very interesting because I'm kind of big into that tapping into our artistic side to
Mhm.
use for our mindset and performance. Do you feel out of those experiences in the musical, there was things you learned through that experience that you've been able to apply in goal?
Um, I don't really know. I was the musicals were a lot more like just for fun, but also it was it kind of gave me like a time to relax and like to explore my artistic side and to like see things from a different angle and not just from like a sports perspective. Um So it helped a lot in just like calming me and not having my mind going like, oh, I need to be doing lacrosse all the time. Like I need to be swimming. I need to be in the pool. I need to be on the field. It was like oh my gosh, I'm on the stage right now. Like this is so different. So it kind of just, it was kind of a mental break from sports. And it was really nice. And I enjoyed it because I took an art class every year of high school to have that mental break from science, math, sports, like all of that. So art has always been like my little refuge.
Yeah, I like that, and I find a lot of times for me it's more music and reading on my side, but
Yeah.
I find it like even loosens up some maybe how to look at perspectives or things if I'm
Mhm.
like especially if I'm from the coaching side of things trying to come up with ways to help you goalies figure something out. I find that
Yeah.
that's helpful.
Yeah, it is, especially because a lot of music and books, like, they give you different perspectives to, like, different sides of a story, like, there could be, like, a war going on, and it gives you both sides, and it shows you, like, how they, like, fix things, and, like, you can weirdly put it into your life and, like, use that kind of advice to help, so, yeah.
And let's be honest, you're like being in musicals. I mean, you're in a little circular stage right now with all the eyeballs
Yeah.
on you. So there must be some some kind of not stage fright. You must have got over that.
Yeah, I think being in cage did actually help with stage fright. 'Cause, you feel so watched being in that circle because people are just like, "Yeah, goalie, get it, goalie," and I'm just like, "Okay." And, like, it definitely helped with my stage fright, like, last year during the musical, I wasn't afraid to, like, be on stage in front of people, like, it felt normal, and I give the credit to lacrosse and being a goalie and being so just, like, watched.
You certainly from the time I started to know you, you've never come across as being a person with stage fright to me. So that must have been over before that prospect camp even.
Maybe. I have no clue. But, I tend to it's really weird that my parents have noticed this whenever I'm, like, talking to someone new or doing an interview or anything, I all of a sudden get, like, a confidence thing, and I'm all of a sudden really good at speaking to people. So,
That's it, the big performance. You step up for the big performance.
yeah. Yeah. Just gotta fake it till you make it.
Not not sure I totally agree with that statement, but that's for a different time. But
Yeah.
but kind okay, but kind of on that. So if to me that kind of gets into mindfulness.
Mhm.
And how would you how would you define like mindfulness as it applies to the way you go into practices and the way you go into games? And is there any kind of gap between those two things for you?
It's mindfulness for me is really just getting in that right mindset for whatever I'm doing. So for practice, it's just getting in the mindset of, well, today may be a tough practice, but it's going to be fun no matter what. Like you're gonna still love lacrosse. Like everything's gonna be fine. Like it's all gonna be okay. Cause like I have the anxiety before practices even, which is even now, like, and we're at the end of fall ball. But it's all getting in the right mindset of like everything's gonna be fine. Like you've done this before, it's all okay. I mean, for games, it's more of like a this is like one of the because I love games. I love playing in games. It's one of my favorite things ever. So before games, it's always like this is like a performance, but you're having fun. What you're doing is like helping people in a sense. and it's just like it really gets me pumped up, and I tend to listen to like Rage Against the Machines to really get myself pumped up for games.
Let's go.
Yeah, so for games, it's a lot more like getting pumped up and like getting myself excited and ready to play and ready to like kind of just like show off in a sense, kind of.
All right.
Yeah,
We'll take it. You've got your stuff. You might as well show it.
yeah,
Um, this might be one of my favorite questions to ask goalies.
okay.
So, it's kind of about little details. So you may have heard some people talk about making your bed every morning because it's
Mhm.
if you can't focus on a little thing, um, a daily little thing, how can you focus on a bigger thing? Coach John Wooden, famous basketball coach, he first day of collegiate basketball, he taught his players how to put their socks on. Um, would that be weird? Your first day of practice, they're like, this is how you put your socks on. But it was again another example of, if you can get the little things right, and in that
Mhm.
case, we don't want your feet to hurt because it's a
Yeah.
distraction. But what kind of little detail things are you kind of obsessed with that helps you focus on some of the bigger details of your game?
Um, a lot of big thing or not big things, little things for me is the socks that I wear, which weirdly kind of goes with what you were saying. I have specific socks that I will wear to games, and it's only these tall socks that go up to my knees, and they're all funky, but they just like give me confidence. And they're just like it's just the little thing that kind of just like it makes me laugh and it makes me feel good, and it kind of takes away my worries, and it's like I still get to have fun even if like the game isn't going to be fun. Like I still get to have fun. Like this is like it's something that I can choose to wear for a game, and no one can really tell me no to an extent.
That this really makes me wonder though, because that's borderlining on superstition as opposed to small detail. When's the last time those socks have been washed?
Oh, it's multiple pairs of socks.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
multiples. Okay.
Yeah. It's just it's like there's like 5 different pairs. They rotate.
I knew it. I knew that was coming.
They rotate.
Do
Yeah.
they just rotate or do they have certain days for themselves?
It depends on how I'm feeling that day. Because if they're all clean and I'm feeling like I wanna be fierce, I wear my Spider-Man socks.
All right. I
So,
love it. I'm not surprised that a goalie's telling me this.
I
Not in
get
the
compliments on them a lot, so,
as you should.
my sophomore year, my teammates got mad at me for not wearing my Spider-Man socks one game. So,
Did you guys win even though you didn't wear them?
yes, I think so, but I distinctively remember my teammate just, like, pulling me off to the side and be like, "Grace, where are your Spider-Man socks? Like, why aren't you wearing them?" And I was like, "They're dirty right now." And she was like, "No, no, no, you need to go get those." And I was like, "Okay."
I love when goalie OCD starts to spread outward into the team.
Yeah, and I was like, they're dirty, like, they're very gross right now." And she was like, "No, it's fine. Put them on." And I was like,
That's great.
"Okay,
All right, last question. I can
okay."
get you back to your busy college life. Um, so that eighth grade Grace being asked to go play goalie for the first time, what if you could talk to her now, where you're at, just finishing up fall ball of your freshman year, what would you tell her?
Um, it would kind of just be like "You're not gonna believe this, but you actually stick with this sport and you play it in college." Because I knew that in 8th grade, I was like, "Oh, this is just a fun little thing." So I feel like I really like just tell myself like you need to stick with this. Like this is going to be like your thing. Like you are going to fall in love with this. Trust me. Although it may be scary, like getting shots flung at your head, but it's fine. You'll get used to it. It's like yeah. So I was just so nervous, and it definitely would have helped to have somebody just be like, "You're going to like make it far in this. Like this is going to be something that you love eventually." eventually.
I love that. So I hope all of you younger goalies watching this are listening to those words of wisdom.
Yeah.
Grace, thank you for spending time with me tonight. It was fun digging into your brain a little bit. And I think we lost you again.
Yeah, we're good now.
Oh, there
Got
we
it.
are. Again, thank you for spending some time with me tonight.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. It was a lot of
Abs-
fun.
Absolutely. And I know that we will be talking soon.
We will.
See ya.
Bye.